What is up, good people? Crypto Prepper here. Today is Wednesday, July 8th, 2026. Today, we are going to talk about setting up bots for the bull market. Okay. So, if you have followed my financial advice, you're going to listen to Blockchain Backer. And he's been talking about how there's a lot of indicators that are showing that we've hit the bottom and not to say that we couldn't continue to bounce through here, but the worst of it is over, and a lot of people are saying that. But when Blockchain Backer says it, it means a lot more because I don't know if I've been listening to him for 6 years, and he's been right a lot more than he's been wrong. So let's talk about first how to set up like maybe a more conservative bot that should still do well in the bull market, but definitely did well in the bear market. And we are going to look at this bot, basically taking it instead of 365 days, excuse me, we're going to take it 350 days because that is about a day or two after we hit our most recent all-time high with XRP anyway. So let's go through these settings real quick and see here. We've got Coinbase as the exchange. XRP USDC as the pair, investment of $1,000. As always, these can be scaled up, but plug $1,000 in there and then uh, change your base order amount to 3125. Our averaging orders amount to 968.75. Put 5 as your averaging orders quantity and 8 as your averaging orders step percent. Then take your amount multiplier, click and drag that all the way to X2. Click and drag or click this little, because it starts out here at like 1.3. You can click that little off button and it will immediately turn it off, or you like to drag it, you drag it. Okay, then pop down to your take profit and put 5 as your price change percent. So anytime it gets 5% above your DCA average, your dollar cost average, it's going to take profit. You don't put a stop loss in there, and risk management, let's keep that on, and I'll show you why. Because if I were to turn that off here, let's do a back test and you'll see. Where there for a while I was turning it off because it was giving me a better percentage APY. But just recently I started playing around with toggling that on and off. And you can see it went from almost 17 to 9.5. So let's turn that back on. And you can see that's the only thing we're changing. And while the coin has dropped 65%, um, this bot has not only paid you 17% in APY and profit and your bot profit and straight into your USDC wallet, but it has continuation here with these green limit orders you can see here. And we still have 750, 820, or 875, 930. You still have $930 that this bot is working with out of your initial $1,000. So you have 930. You can close this out right away. You can capture that, out of the market or whatever, plus the not $170. So, um, and you can, that's selling the XRP. But anyway, we won't get too much into details with that, but it's definitely better than buying and holding through all this. So, now those are good settings that performed well in the previous bear market over the last year. But as blockchain backer's been talking about specifically over the last week, he thinks we're towards the bottom. So, and I've been thinking about this for a week or two and what I'm going to do, how I'm going to set these bots up for the bear market, sorry, the bull market. And I can only go back 365 days with my back tests. So that doesn't, I can't go back far enough to get the actual backtest data. But what I did was I went and I looked to see, you know, uh, you can see our our bull market actually started here, even though it doesn't look like it for a while. I think, yeah, because it dropped down, it hit our bottom, wow, 2 years ago, July 4th, 2026, or 2024. And you can see even in the sideways action, we get some volatility and, it popped up. Definitely your bots would have taken some profit. And then, uh, let's see here, get out of here. I need to measure down. So you could, it's gonna be buying and selling all this way, and then you get a 30% drop there. You get a 20% drop. You get a 15% drop here. You get a 18%, 19%, so on and so on. And so a 20, and this isn't even measuring from the top to the bottom. It could, that's 25 if I do that. But your bot might not uh, be able to, it'll sell and then it might not buy back right away sometimes. So I didn't put that all the way to the top of the wick there. But long and short of it is a 20% correction, even in bear or bull markets, is not uncommon. So that got me thinking about how to set up bots for the bull market. And instead of going that 8% distance, I put it down to 4 in this example. So if I were to measure down from the current price down 20%, that's 4% averaging orders. If I take that down to 5, that covers you down to 25. And even in the last 152 days. So what I did was I did a back test from February 6th until July 8th today. And these settings here, let's see, I haven't run this back test yet. These settings here, just in the last 152 days, have again not only retained your entire value. So here you started the $1,000 bot here. It's purchased and sold all the way through here and paid you 11%. So you're $100 richer in the last 150 days for doing nothing, and you still have, still going to continue working for you. So, um, yeah, so that's just been my thought process the last, and you can see here, I don't know if I went through all these settings, just so you can confirm that they're basically the same settings that I usually talk about. You know, my standard bot is 5, 5, and 5. So I have a 5% averaging orders distance in between those orders. There's 5 orders. The amount multiplier is always on X2, and then the take profits at 5. And then just recently I started leaving this on. It defaults on. So um, you can just leave it on. And it's actually been producing a better back test than with it off somehow, just recently. So you could set up of what I did after what I did yesterday is I closed out all my old bots. I took all the XRP that they have accumulated over the last, uh, they've been fully vested. Well, there's a couple that had taken profit and they weren't fully vested. They were about 85% vested into all the bots altogether. They were 85% vested back into XRP. And so what I did was I took that out and then I moved it over to a borrowing platform, borrowed against it so that I can capitalize on the next 500% pump that we see because the bots are not going to make that 500% in the next bull market. You know, You can go back into my video settings, and I keep forgetting. I thought about this earlier and I forgot to look it up, but I did some settings on XRP back earlier this year that over that time period that I ran. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it produced 100% APY. So that's great. It's better than you're going to get anywhere else, but it's not as good as the 500% you're going to see just buying and holding in the bull market if you can stomach that. If you can stomach the volatility and seeing that, and take profit hopefully on the way, but that's not always easy. So, uh, what I did, I wanted to maximize my gains over the next uh, however long it is with the bull market. But then I wanted to capitalize on the cash flow of the bots. So, if I could pay 10% to borrow against my XRP and make 100% on the bots, or 50% on the bots in the bull market, or even 16% in a bear market. Um, did I take you through that? Yeah, yeah. Here, 17% in a bear market, and pay 10% on the loan. That's still 6% that I have, and I maximize my gains of the price actually going up. So that's my thought process. And if you haven't started following Blockchain Backer, definitely do that and keep abreast of what he's talking about. And if you like this video and are interested in this, setting up some bots and learn more about this, subscribe to the channel and give me a like. And if you understand not everybody likes XRP, I've done bots on other coins, and I don't know if it's probably going to be a while before I go back through that list and set those bots up again. Um, just because we're in summertime, so it's definitely a uh, different time management than through the school year. So anyway, hopefully you like that, and well, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. All right, take it easy.